everyone, again. Good day, everyone. My name is Uchechukwu Azubuko, and it's a pleasure to be here talking to us today at DevFest Lagos 2024. It's a big pleasure, really. Um, if this is the first time we're coming for a tech conference, can I just see your hands raised? Oh, cool. Could you just raise your hand a bit more, just so I see? That's a good number, really. Cool, cool. It's your first time? Your first time. What brought you here? Just curious to know what brought you here. Why are you here? You want to explore. Cool. Who else? First time? Yeah. Why are you here? Okay, I'm coming to you. Why are you here? What brings you to connect? Have you been doing that? Really? Okay. What do you do? Front end, back end, product designing? Amazing stuff. Cool. So it's amazing, really, that we have a good number of us who are here for the very first time. I have been part of building developer community since I was, in the university, and so I know what it really means to be a part of such a thing, probably as a member or as an organizer. And so I really appreciate the DevFest organizing team for this. Again, I think another thing I have observed so far is that the female number is a lot. It's really a lot, and I'm really passionate about women in tech. I'm really passionate about resources and agenda that promote the feminine gender in tech. So a big round of applause for the ladies in the house, please. Let's go, cool stuff. Yeah, while we're eating at the lounge, someone told me that I look a bit smaller in person compared to what they saw. I apologize for that. I'll change my I'll change my profile photo, right? The next time you probably see me on a speaker, um, you know, Outlook. I'm also told about my mustache probably every week. I'm always told I have some good-looking mustache. Oh, but again, something that has kept me going with the mustache is because growing up, I had the impression that people who have mustaches are wise, right? Why are we laughing at me? You all don't think I'm wise? What? You don't know yet. Come on now. I'm lead front-end engineer at One Liquidity. Okay. But I mean, in all fairness, really, it's good that you don't know yet, and that's good stuff, really. But again, I think that's the reason why we should really thank DevFest for this program, because to bring up such great speakers today, you should know that they have done a lot of things in the past, right, that has merited such an opportunity on a stage like this. And while, like you said, you don't know yet, while I don't have a lot of wisdom, I am really here to pass some sort of wisdom for everyone who cares to learn about accessibility. Help us to get smarter at these things, help us to prevent, catch, and fix issues that pertain to web accessibility. Again, I would like to know, how many of us feel like web accessibility is just a thing for front-end engineers? Do we think web accessibility, you think it's just for front-end engineers? For the most part. You think so too? Anybody thinking otherwise? Or you feel like, okay, so if you think web accessibility should just be for front-end engineers, let me see your hands raised, please. Should just be for front-end engineers. Your hands, please, in the air. One person, but like 100 here, 200. Designers, it should be for designers. Raise your hands. Okay. For designers and front-end developers. Do we agree? for just designers and front-end engineers, do we think that back-end engineers should have an idea of how web accessibility goes? Ah, my people. Okay, so everybody should be aware, for the most part, accessibility really involves shared responsibility, right? For front-end engineers, for designers, and also back-end engineers. And like you've rightly said, the back-end engineers really would help in how they architecture the data, right? Because as a front-end engineer, one of the things, we're discussing this also at launch, one of the things you would be involved with is structuring user flow. The first thing you probably come to do while you see like user interface designs is you're thinking of the flow, all right? And so if the backend engineers have probably designed the APIs in a way that hinders success of accessibility, there could be issues. There could be issues. The bigger issue would be if designers design in such a way that there is no care for accessibility. We've been using this word accessibility for a very, very long time, and we will get to understand what it really is. But let's just pay good attention to what's happening so far. Here is a QR code of Vue.js accessibility. I believe that we have some Vue.js developers in the house. Can I hear you say, yay? Yay. Cool stuff. So if you're a Vue.js developer, you could just scan this and get access to Vue.js accessibility. I had written this on Vue Mastery. So I mean, if you are a Vue.js dev, you probably are aware of Vue Mastery. It's the premier resource for Vue.js learning. And so I'll just wait for us to scan this. So therein lies content for you to learn how to build the web in an accessible manner, build applications in an accessible manner. I'll be waiting for you to scan that. Cool. So back to today's topic. So let's think of it like this. We are all grown-ups, for sure. But let's imagine we are 6 years of age. I mean, everyone here, 6, 7 years of age. And let's think of us building a tree house, okay? A tree house. You're trying to build a tree house. You want every of your friends to come to your house. We all know what tree houses are, right? A house that's on a tree. So think of it like that. The concept of preventing is in such a way that you want to build a ramp for, say you have friends that don't have legs. You're going to consider how are those going to climb to get the ramp, to get to the house. You have to plan ahead so that there are no problems later for such kinds of your friends, because you want everybody to be a part of the fun that happens in the treehouse. That's the concept of preventing. Preventing has us planning ahead in such a way that we are able to avoid problems later. The idea of catching would be a case of finding out issues that could arise. And now, remember, we all have different heights, and it's possible that we have short friends. So in as much as we have built a ladder to get to our treehouse, it's possible that we have a very short friend whose legs can't get to the next ladder, right? Oh, are you laughing at a short friend that came to your mind? What? All right, cool. So, because there are people like that for real. And so we have to think about people like that, right? We have to think of how we can mitigate the troubles that they would have when they are trying to come into our house. So catching just entails finding problems before they can cause troubles. And then the last thing we're going to have a look at really is fixing. Because I feel like the idea of catching and fixing is kind of like interwoven. You catch and then you fix. What's the use of catching if we're not fixing? Do we agree? Cool. So fixing would mean that we're going to have to build our ladder in such a way that it's easier for people and everyone really to climb. And so we're fixing problems so that everyone can enjoy our tree house. Okay, so before we proceed, if you want to get access to the slides, please feel free to do so. I would wait 1 minute for us to do that. Accessibility 101. So, accessibility really is building bridges. Accessibility is building bridges. How many of us know what this is, where this is? How many of us stay on the mainland here? Raise your hand, please. Mainland, mainland. Be proud now. Come on, come on. no. So he says staying on the mainland or just know this bridge. Okay, if we know the bridge, let's raise our hands up. If we stay on the mainland, I feel like everybody that stays on the mainland, except you're a rich kid, you've used this bridge before. That's the Yaba Overpass Bridge, right? So we all know this bridge. It sounds like this bridge is bringing some PTSD into people's minds. Is it? How many of us have had to drink cold water after climbing this bridge? Okay, we'll find out. Can we just scan this QR code and answer the question that's there? Let's scan the QR code and answer the question that's there. So I'm here trying to look at the pie chart, and I'm going to reveal the answer to us. The fraction we have here, we have a pie chart here. And the question was, how do you find the Yaba Overpass Bridge accessible? And so far, there are 103 responses. 69.2 say no, and 30.8 say yes. I think we'll start with the people who said yes. If you said yes, can we see your hands up? Because the people that said no might want to throw stones at you right now. There are a lot more. So you said yes. Wow, cool.
Okay, so I said yes because I think that subjects like this are very subjective, right? If there's no agreed standard for what accessibility means, we can't say yes or no. You choose what you've experienced. I would believe that the people who built the bridges might see that people are crossing over and getting to their destination, and for them, that's the design, and for them, that's accessible. But personally, for me, I like the fact that it blocks away the railway station, the rail lines that people are always going through. I like that it blocks the way. I like that I can just climb up and then drop on the other side. That does not get me to the bridge and I can walk out. You get? For me, that's enough. I know that, yes, it can be stressful when you climb and when you come down, you're panting because of the zigzag of it, but it gets me to my destination. But for some category of people, it might not be accessible. But for me, it is.
Can we clap for him, please? Hi, what's your name?
My name is Tosin.
Tosin. What do you do, Tosin?
My lead front end.
At where?
Seedfi, a fintech in VIL.
Cool.
Yeah.
Hi, everyone. That's Tosin, lead front-end engineer at
Seedfi.
Seedfi. Let's clap for him again. Someone pointed at someone at the back. What did you select? What did she select? You pointed at her.
Hi, everyone.
Hi.
I chose yes, I'll say out of ignorance because I personally have not taken Yaba Bridge. I don't stay around Yaba, and I don't have reasons to go to Yaba. But I've taken other bridges, so I just felt the bridge is the same.
People that said no, what did we do to her?
I apologize.
All right, let's just clap for her too. Thanks for responding. I'm being truthful. Who said no again before we take some yeses? Who said no? Oh, she said no. The lady on glasses. You said no, yeah? Okay, him. Yeah, he wants to say something. Yeah, tell us why.
Okay, I said no because I've taken a bridge before, and
Could you use the mic?
so I've taken the bridge before, and I've like as a pedestrian. So the way it was before, you have to leave if you are sort of leaving the market. You have to sort of climb the bridge, come back down. To for pedestrians, it's not really accessible. It's like more stress because there's a wall, so you have to climb the bridge to go over that wall and come back down to and the distance is less than 50 meters. So you have to climb the bridge to come down just to cross that wall. So it's not really accessible for me as a pedestrian.
All right, cool, cool. What do you do? What's your name?
I'm Toby.
Toby, nice to meet you. And what do you do?
I'm a front-end engineer
Cool, where?
at FCMB.
Cool. Let's clap for Toby from FCMB. So, I mean, I'm doing this again because it's helping us find the right people we could probably work with. He's a front-end engineer. He's a front-end engineer. If you need front-end engineers on your team, feel free to hit them up after the event. Some people said they were here for networking, and I think this is going to be helpful. So how many of us feel like it is not accessible? Let's see. Aside Toby, who else wants to say something? From this side, do you find it accessible? Do you find it? Say something. You've been smiling all day. Yeah, give her the mic. How often do you use the bridge? Every week? Or every month? It seems like you don't like this bridge at all.
I don't like it, honestly.
How often have you used it?
Well, sometime in August, I used it 4 times every week.
Okay.
Yeah, so apparently I have the right to speak about the bridge. As far as I'm concerned, it's not accessible. Okay, it might not be so much of a problem for me, but I guess when we talk about accessibility, we're talking about the number of people who are able to access a particular product, and in this case, the bridge. So, for someone who is maybe a little bit older than myself, will have a hard time using that bridge. I really can't measure how much 50 kilometers is, but I think it's much more than that anyways. Really, because, okay, I usually move from Festac and I head towards Montgomery Street. So when the bus drops me at Tejosho, it's like a 20 minutes walk from there to, by the time I get to Montgomery, whatever that name is, I'm exhausted. Yeah, so, and then secondly, when you realize that when the driver drops you at Tojosho Market, and then you're headed towards the other side of the road, usually it's very busy. Like if you decide not to take the bridge, it's usually very busy. And then the easiest way to get to the other side with less friction is to take the bridge. But then when you now get to the bridge and want to come back to the market, there's really no provision for you to easily move to the other side and use the stairs. You have to jump over a barricade like a hoodlum to get to the other side. And I find that embarrassing most of the time. So with these few reasons, I want to convince you that it is not accessible. That's a very bad design as far as I'm concerned.
All right, cool. Let's clap for her. Okay. So essentially, the whole idea really is to figure out what it really means to build bridges, right? Like he said, he spoke about how at the back of the mind, the government's priority is possibly protection of civilians. Because there was a time where people who probably crossed the train tracks were killed. There were times like that. And so, like she's also saying, in as much as what he says is valid, she is tired by the time she has to use it, or it's really stressful. But when we are building resources for people across the internet, we really have to factor everybody. We really have to factor everyone who is using our resources, everyone who's using our websites, everyone using our games. And so that's the reason why we say that the web is fundamentally designed to work for all people, even when those people's abilities are limited in some way. And so this means that in as much as we think we are building bridges, we should really build bridges in such a way that no one is left out, right? That's the idea of accessibility. We're building our applications in a way that no one is left out. We're building our games in a way that no one is left out. Imagine you were playing a PS5 and the buttons were very small. How do you want to press X or box, right? So you would even have it possible that there are various customs available for you. You're able to customize, right, the pad and all of that. Think of it like accessibility in such a way, right? You're able to choose if you want to move with the analog or the normal buttons. That's accessibility in play, right? And so it cuts across every facet that we could possibly think of. The use of the Yaba Overpass Bridge was a way to bring it to our day-to-day living, because that's the easiest way we can all make sense of it all. Usually, when we're building applications, we're just thinking of how we can build the button, how we can make it red or yellow, or however our theme colors are. But it doesn't end there, right? Else, we are leaving out a fraction of people who won't be able to use our products. Next, please. Yeah, and so talking about leaving out a fraction of people, these are the issues. There's 16% of global population that has some form of disability. Approximately 1.3 billion people globally live with some form of disability. Over 900 million people have low literacy or are illiterate. 1 in 10 people use local languages as their primary language. 1+ billion people are above the age of 60, and that's like 22% of the world. And so if we are building and we don't, put this into consideration, we really aren't building well. That's the essence of this talk today. We need to build well, we need to factor in various people. And you know what? Next. Almost everyone here is disabled, and that's the fact. Someone said, eh? Okay, so I think that we should come to recognize that almost everyone here is disabled. And so I think the person who said eh has all his hands working well, his legs are working well, eyes are seeing as they should. Fine. But put your hands up if you've ever used Siri or Alexa. You have? Cool. Okay. Put your hands up if your current Twitter team is dark mode. There are more hands up. All right. I think the hands might get upper even now. And let's try to make it more practical. You have a friend afar, and you're trying to call your friend. What do? You like this? You do like this? Right? You're trying to wave at your friend. You're not saying their name. So the thing here is this. We need to break that thought or that perception of what the word disabled means. Okay? The fact that you're using dark mode really tells that you are disabled in a way, because you want to say something? I mean, feel free. Who wants to say something? You don't agree? They didn't make dark mode for you now. You can see well. They didn't make dark mode for you. It's not for you now. Tell them. So dark mode really isn't for you. And so the fact that you're using dark mode just tells that you have a disability one way or another. If it's helping your attentiveness, it's building a bridge, right? So essentially, any tool that helps to build a bridge, right, when you're using web resources, an application, a web page, is providing some sort of web accessibility for you. And, well, safe to say you might be disabled in that context. But really, there are various kinds of, hello? So there are various kinds of disabilities. I know that you probably came here with the notion that those who are disabled are people who probably can't see. I'm making use of this because I can't see, like, oh! Oh, so you all think I said you're disabled because me too, I'm using glasses. That, who's going to be your spokesman? Who is going to speak on behalf of you guys? What did you say? I can't see. Shit. Oh my God. You know the funny thing? When he raised his hand, I struggled to. I had to wear my glasses so that I can see him. So, I no go drag on. You don't catch me. Wow. Nice comeback. Nice comeback. But am I wise? Am I wise? Even if I can't see, am I wise? I say what? You're just trying to assess me. Wow. Should we draw a Google form at the end just for is Uche wise? All right, we'll put that up. You say what? I don't want to know. Okay. So when we build, really, we need to remember that it's possible that our grandparents are using the websites that we are making use of. It's possible that small children are using the websites that we are making use of, the games that we are making use of. And so we need to bear in mind that the concept of being disabled can span across various facets of life. Okay, this is me throwing shots at you guys because a lot of you do this. How many of you have watched, while you're in a public vehicle or while you're using the toilet, you have watched an Instagram video without the sound on? Hands up, please. Hands up. Yeah, there are lots of smiles. The hands should go up too now. Let me feel wise. Your hands are up. Good. I do that too, really. But again, those captions you see are a way to bridge the gap so that when you're not able to, plug in earphones, you are able to still watch the videos. I think on Instagram, really, I think I have watched a lot of videos by caption rather than by sound. And this is because personal preference, really. What I do is to limit the content I get to hear. And that's because there's a lot of nasty stuff out there. There's a lot of content that really should be blocked. Twitter is the worst right now. Twitter is the worst place to be right now. I think there was a poll of, we're going to leave that there. But, so, the whole idea really is to help us enjoy using systems when we probably have, issues, when we have limited ability to make use of the systems. So that's an example, really. Let's think of another one. I really need to show you guys I'm wise today. But wise men don't show off now. I'm just humble, yeah? All right, cool. Next. Okay, the idea of preventing, like we said earlier, just really means to plan ahead so that issues or problems do not come up later. And the reason we prevent is because if we would agree, one of the most important inventions has been the internet. Even if you probably don't agree, everyone has their opinion. But I feel like a lot of things wouldn't happen today if we don't have the internet. We wouldn't be here if there was no internet. Or like the number of people here wouldn't be available if there was no internet. Right? And so, because there is technology in play, there is also a need to make it possible that everyone who finds technology super important uses it effectively and are able to connect wholesomely and wholly with it. Next, please. And so for that reason, we have something called the Power Principles. The Power Principles. The Power Principles are really just guidelines, right, that help us build web resources in such a way that there is web accessibility thoroughly for our use. And P means perceivability. It means it asks the question, can everyone see or hear the content? Can everyone see or hear the content? O stands for operable, and it asks the question, can everyone use the buttons? Can everyone use our links? Can everyone use our forms? U stands for understandable, and it asks the question, is the content clear? Are they easy to follow? Right? Is it easy to get? A lot of us build a lot of stuff, and we feel like as long as it's fine, it's good. But it doesn't end there. People need to be able to use the stuff that we build. It needs to be easy to be understood. And so it's possible that we have a product that is solving real-life issues. But remember, we live in a generation where the attention span is so little. It's so little, to be very honest. It's so little. And so you need to build things that make it possible for people to use resources easily without stress, right? If it's possible to use images, use images. However, when you're using images, remember to use things like the alt attribute because, again, blind people exist. And so they are using screen readers. They need to be able to make sense of it all if they can't see what the image really is. And R stands for robust. We will decide work on different devices. So really, you need to really clap for front-end engineers. And I mean, front-end engineers in the house, clap for yourselves. The reason you're doing this is because you're not just building for one platform. You're building cross-platform. Clap for yourselves again. Come on. It's not easy. It's not easy. Because, I mean, there are some things that don't work on Mozilla, and they're working on Chrome. And when a front-end engineer probably during testing is saying, I hope we're all Nigerians. It they work for my screen. Right? Well, they work for my side. I don't know why they work for your side. But you have to debug. There was a time I was working, and then on Apple devices, it was a blank screen. And I was using a Windows at the time. I had to use a Mac at the end of the day to debug. I had to use an iPhone even to debug. Though I had an iPhone, but again, I was using a Windows. It was only going to work if I used my iPhone with my Mac to find out what the issue was. And so these things exist. So again, front-end engineers, you're doing well. Designers, please help us, okay? Help us. You guys are really our headaches. Designers, you guys are our headaches. And the funny thing is that usually, most times, you guys end up redesigning because we tell you, we cannot do this one based on the timeline. So you guys, use your head. Move on, please. So we'll just run through the whole process of catching and fixing. And that was the reason why I shared the slides, so that we can have a look at that, should we not have much time for that. Hello, please, next. Yeah. Catching and fixing. Like we said earlier, catching problems means to find them before they cause trouble. And fixing is all about solving problems so that everyone can enjoy. Hello? This here is just a graph of the top 6 issues that websites have been faced with, right, regarding the concept of accessibility over the last 5 years. And these common issues, you should do well to avoid them. Low contrast text, missing alternative text, missing form labels, empty links, empty buttons, missing document language. So what I use while I work is that, at One Liquidity for deployment processes on the front end, I make use of Netlify, right? We make use of Netlify. So I do well to embed Lighthouse, right, amongst other tools during the deployment process. And so I'm able to track issues. And one of those issues, accessibility. You're able to track performance issues. You're able to track SEO issues too, right? But if you can incorporate those things into your workflow, it would really help you to catch these things. Because it would tell you. It would tell you if you're having such issues and you're able to, and it will really tell you how to solve it. One thing Netlify also does is that it has an AI assistant, and so that can also be really helpful for your use. So I use Verso for private projects, like personal projects, so you can also just check out any of those. Next, please. So also, from now to the end of this session, I will just be showing us various areas we can pay attention to and how to catch them while we're building applications and products so that we can achieve web accessibility. The first one is to ensure the use of keyboard-only navigation. A way to catch this is by using our website without a mouse, because there are people who don't or aren't able to use a mouse. I remember when I started using computers, and you had to use the track mouse. How many of us use computers before 2010? All right, cool. For that reason, I'm pretty sure you made use of track pads as your mouse, wired mouse, I mean. So, and you know that they had like trackballs. There was a very, very peculiar thing about those things. They don't used to last. Like those mouse, I don't know if your own lasted, maybe mine was fake, but they hardly last. And so when they don't last, what happens? I'm probably not able to use the computer anymore. But if it's possible that websites and users of websites are able to make use without a mouse, probably just by tabbing, then I believe you have helped to solve accessibility for people who only have access to keyboards. Okay? One thing I do when I build is to try to put a tab index for custom-made components. The good thing we have is that most component libraries help us with accessibility, and so these things are really helped, but we can also try to do our own part and play our own part to make sure interactive elements exist. Next, please. Another thing we can do is to check for proper text contrast. While I was making this PDF, I think I had to play around with colors really, because there was a time I used a kind of black, a kind of green that wasn't matching well with the black and all of that. And really what would have happened is we won't be able to see this. So the idea of checking for proper text contrast is just to help us build our website in such a way that people who are also colorblind can also make sense of it all. I know that a lot of us here have better sites than I do, but put us into mind, right, while you're building. Put us into mind, adjust the colors of your text and backgrounds where need be, so that we can be able to use them properly, your applications properly. Next, please. Use descriptive links. Really, you can't overemphasize or underemphasize on this. Avoid vague links like click here. Okay, I'm told my time is up. So we can just go through this. We all have the slides. And so just run through the end, please. So this is just like the last thing I just want to pass. The web is not a barrier to people with disabilities. It is the solution. And so if we are indeed making use of the most important invention, I think it's very important that we make it possible for everyone to make use of it and no one being left out. Thank you for paying good attention to my talk today, and I appreciate the time. Thank you. Yeah, you can follow me on GitHub, Twitter at Azubuko. If you wish to connect with me, I am Azubuko on any platform. You can find me with my name anywhere. I'll be happy to help if you have issues or you need help with your career or whatever it may be. Thank you once again. Have a good day.
Thank you so much, Uchechukwu. It was very insightful. You started out by talking about workflow understanding the flow. And then you gave us the instance of the Yaba bridge. And I heard a couple contributions concerning it, and you spoke about how you need to consider so many things and consider everyone. Now, understanding the workflow is not really an easy journey. Okay, I'm a front-end developer for Coronation, and one of the difficult things we get to do is understanding the diagram, understanding the workflow of any designs given to us. So I would like to know how do you get to understand it, even when it comes to the consuming of APIs as well? When giving diagrams, how do you get to understand it? When giving business require BRD documents, how do you get to understand the workflow that you implement seamlessly?
Okay. Um, Again, I think that while you are building, again, what's your name, sir? Kingsley. Thank you, Kingsley. Kingsley, so um, while you are building an application, whatever it may be really, one thing that's very important is to have access to user requirements and system requirements. So think of it like reverse engineering. That's the best way really to think of the most appropriate flow to build systems, right? You want to think like a hacker really. Think of how the end can be met from the end, right? Sorry, from the beginning, how the end can be met from, because I mean, you're trying to start out, right? But then again, you're thinking from the back. You're thinking from the back. How best can we build this thing? How can we, what do we need to avoid? What loopholes can we, take into consideration? So I basically just know that for whatever product you are building, there needs to be met. It'll be good to pen this down. It'll be good to focus on, break them into pieces, and then also, again, the concept of catching and fixing. Just try to figure out what could be a loophole, right? Pen that down. You probably catch that, the idea of catching, and then the idea of fixing would be you are then putting structures into place to prevent such loopholes. An example could be input validation, all right? Another example could be if you were building an OTP input, it's possible that for people who use iPhones and MacBooks, when you have your authenticator app on your phone, when you copy, you should be able to Ctrl V on your OTP field. So you're going to just basically think as vast as that. You're going to think of people, various devices, and that's the reason why I said, the front-end guys should clap for themselves, because there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on when it comes to thinking cross-browser, thinking cross-platform. So the best way really is to, I believe there are books out there, the MDN and all, that can help to solve these issues regarding cross whatever it may be, and that you'll be able to tackle issues, like that. I hope that helps. Thank you. Yeah.
All right. Sorry, we can't take any more. We are way past time. Please, a round of applause to Uche. Thank you, thank you, thank you.